I'm Richard Edwards from EVs and Beyond. Today we are at Andrew Simms Kia Botany to check out one of the literally biggest electric vehicles coming to the passenger car market, the Kia EV9. Now, so far, if you kind of ignore the Tesla Model X, the EV market has been dominated by small to medium-sized SUVs, which are fantastic, but not necessarily great for all Kiwi families and businesses. Now, the EV9 is a big step up. It is 10 millimeters over 5 meters long, it's just short of 2 meters wide, and just short of 1.8 meters tall. This is a big vehicle with room for, in I think every version in New Zealand, 7 seats with some luggage space to spare. Now, if you want some context of how big this vehicle is, the wheelbase is 3.2 meters. Now, wheelbase is really important to how much space a vehicle has in the interior because it's the gap between the wheels. Now, the wheelbase on this is nearly 400 millimeters longer than that of a Kia Sorento, which is already a pretty big family vehicle. Now, as we look around this, we've got to be very aware this is a pre-production example. It's not entirely indicative of the quality and in some of the cases the finishes of what the final car will be, but it's here in New Zealand so people can have a look around, get an idea of the size, get an idea of what they're looking at, and hopefully place some orders. Now, let's go have a look around. Right, so starting at the front, it doesn't exactly look aerodynamic, but I think it looks pretty cool. It's this big kind of bluff front with these huge, big LED kind of matrix headlights. I think they look really cool. You've got your panel down the bottom there for the various driver assist functions as well. Now, while we can't open the bonnet today, we can confirm there is a frunk under there. Well, there's 2 frunks actually. The rear-wheel drive models get a 90-litre frunk, which is great, and the dual motor or all-wheel drive models get a 50-litre frunk. So not huge, but definitely enough to put some basic gear in and definitely charging cables and a few other things. Really great to see a car company that's actually putting the effort into putting a frunk in their vehicles. So if we come around the side here, what we have on the pre-production model we're looking at today is these video mirrors. Now, we'll show those when we get inside. You've got screens there to show what they're showing. Now, of course, they improve aero. Not that that's necessarily a big issue on a large slab-fronted family-size SUV, but cool nonetheless. You have some pretty cool sculpting down the bottom here. Roof rails, so great if you want to put a roof box or roof rack on there for your various toys. And like the EV6, we've got the pull in and out handles, though on this production model, they are not moving. I really like this black finish around the windows. I think that looks really good as well. Now, the wheels on this particular model, if we look, 21-inch wheels, so big wheels, but they don't necessarily look that big, and I guess that's just because of how truly massive this car is. If we come around to the back, then we've got these kind of lights here are very much Kia family at the moment. I think they look really good. You've got the big, relatively recent Kia badge. Again, unfortunately, we can't open the boot. This is a pre-production model, but I am looking inside and I can see that there is actually quite a lot of storage space in there for a 3-row family SUV. So often these kind of vehicles just have pretty much nothing behind the 3rd row. Here you've got a fairly decent amount of space there for storing items. Now, the charging port is at the back driver's side here. It is CCS2. Now, being Kia has moved to an 800-volt platform, you get some pretty good charging speeds. So we're hearing 250 kilowatt charging will be the mainstay of the large battery model at the very least, and 11 kilowatt AC, so 3-phase AC, which is really appealing. We'll go through the battery sizes a little bit later, but yeah, it's good to see that we're getting fast charging on this vehicle because the bigger batteries get, you don't want them taking longer to charge, they've got to charge faster. Now, of course, for those who think that EVs have ruined their weekend by not being able to tow big loads, the EV9 will have a solution for some of you in that you can get, optionally, a tow bar sticking out somewhere around there that'll give you a 2.5 ton braked tow rating. So that's pretty impressive. Now, that is going to eat a bit of range, but the ability to do that, to take the boat to the boat ramp, hopefully not far from home, is a really nice one to have. So yeah, that's the exterior of it. I think the interesting perception about it is that while it's a big car and while it's a big SUV, it doesn't feel that high off the road. It looks quite squat down, quite sporty, yet still purposeful. It's a really interesting look. I guess it crosses the gap a little bit between 4-wheel drive and people mover, because let's face it, most people need a people mover, but they really want an SUV. So I think that's a really good design trick that they've done here with the EV9. Let's go have a look inside. So, getting inside the EV9. There's no big step up into the car. It is really easy to get into. It's not daunting at all despite the size of the vehicle. Now in here, it feels reasonably similar, but perhaps a little bit more chunky and modern to, say, the Kia EV6. But yeah, you've got this really kind of squared off steering wheel, lots of controls up here. You've got a drive mode and a terrain mode, which I'm sure that'll be interesting. It'll be one of the few vehicles I've seen around that's electric and has some form of hint that it'll go off-road. Not that a car like this will go that far off-road. You've got two big, I think about 12-inch screens up here, one for the driver and one for the various infotainment systems and information that you can get. You've got some kind of quick keys here for the climate system, which is great. Kia has this kind of interesting switchable touch system they use in most of their cars for that. So to see this far simplified system here is really appealing to me. Now you've got USB ports down here, which are great. You've got more actually in the seats for the rear seat passengers as well. Of course, power is becoming more and more important in a car. You've also got an inverter in the vehicle, or so vehicle to load. So from inside the car or with an adapter, you can get 3.3 kilowatts of 240 volt power. So that's super handy if you want to go camping, you want to run appliances, or something you want to charge your laptop with a little more boost. Now, there's a good amount of storage in here. If we look up here, we've got this big tray down here. We've got a sliding cover here that covers these massive adjustable cup holders. You have a wireless charger here, a little bit of storage there. Now, that may seem a little bit short, but actually if you reach under through the back here, where there's more cup holders as well, underneath here, there's a big storage area as well. A bit interesting that it's only really accessible from the back, but still handy nonetheless. Now, the seats themselves, just jumped in, they are great. I love how Kia brings the headrest forward to meet you, really supportive of your head and neck. Now, we've just been told a lot of the materials here, the finishes in here, are actually manufactured from ocean waste plastic. So that is a pretty cool addition as well. Now, as far as the driving controls go, you do have the transmission stalk like the EV6 is down here. It's kind of a twist thing, and you've got an EV power on button all down there. So it's kind of a one-hand setup, one-hand drive. A few other interesting things is we have regen paddles up here. Pretty traditional indicators and stalks, nothing impressive here, there. And then we have the video screen here for the mirrors, and the controls for the seat, heating and cooling, are actually on the door here, so that's an interesting place to put them. Right, let's jump in the back. Right, now we're in the back seat, and just to be clear, it passes the Richard test. I can get behind myself, but you would kind of expect that in a vehicle of this size. So again, lots of pretty cool details here. I've just realized the front headrests are like mesh, so you can see through them, and they're really cool, quite an interesting design. Now, rear seat passengers in the GT line, which is the top one for now, do get ventilated and heated seats in the rear as well, which is really cool. Nice big pocket here for iPads and items attached to the seat there. As we mentioned, more USB there, cup holders there. Kia's other SUVs, well, the Sorento has cup holders in the door, and I really like those, and they're missing on the EV9, so a little bit of a disappointment there from that, but not too big a deal. Nice big chunky grab handles. We have shades in the back of the doors there. Great for parents who have little babies. We have a big center armrest here with the cup holders, and that's adjustable in height. I have never seen that before. Listen to that. That's new and yeah, very cool. Now, there is lots of feet room. It's a flat floor, so I'm able to put my feet under the seat in front, which really adds to leg room. And then we also have separate climate control buttons up here, and another glass roof in the back, which adds a bit of headroom, adds a bit of light and a bit of openness to the back of this car. So second row passengers are definitely not short done by. But speaking of short, let's go and have a look at the third row. Now, getting to the third row, normally you have a button to push. It would electrically assist in tumbling the seat forward, giving you a big wide space to get back there. But because this is pre-production, it doesn't have any power at the moment, we can't unfortunately do that. We can fold this down and slide this forward, and we could get through, but I'm not going to try it because I'm a big guy. I've had a look at this seat. It's reasonable. It's bigger than I guess most of the third rows on the kind of typical mid to large size family SUVs, but definitely it's for kids, smaller adults. I would not get back there for long, and I'm not going to today. Now, the day before we filmed this, Kia New Zealand released the pricing and a little bit of information around specification on these vehicles. So I'm going to use my phone just so I don't get these details wrong. So the range starts with a rear-wheel drive standard range with a 76.1 kilowatt-hour battery for $105,990. Now, I've seen online some people saying that is a lot, but this is a big vehicle, and you've got to remember that the only thing that really gets close to it in capability is a Tesla Model X, or potentially you could consider an LDV MIFA 9. But that's somewhat of a different vehicle, and the Tesla is twice as expensive, or was when you can get one. So really, this is your only option. So you can step from there into two all-wheel drive or dual motor models with a 99.8 kilowatt-hour usable battery. That's the Air and the GT line, and now they are priced at $115,990 and $134,990 respectively. Again, a lot of money, but a lot of vehicle and a lot of range for the price too. How much range? Well, we don't actually know. There's been only a few figures thrown around for the range of these vehicles, and particularly the only confirmed figure I believe is about 540 kilometers for a rear-wheel drive large battery model, so not entirely indicative of what we're going to see in New Zealand. But no doubt we'll get this on the road soon. I believe that production cars are coming in the next couple of months, with delivery starting later in the year, and as soon as we can get one, we'll get it on the road, put it to the test, and we'll come back to you for a full review on EVs and beyond.